Suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya is set to appear before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria this morning. He's accused of ties to Katiso, Molefe and Vusimuzi, Matlala, alleged key players in organized crime. Witnesses who have testified have suggested that the ties involved an alleged flow of money and protection. Sibiya has denied any wrongdoing. Here's SABC News anchor Ayanda, Nyathi, and reporter Canny Maphanga, who join us now live from the Madlanga Justice College. So, Ayanda, the commission continues today, and it's the development that almost the entire South Africa has been waiting for.
You could argue, Mkolisi, that Shadrack Sibiya is at the center of those explosive claims that were made by Matlala in that bombshell briefing, we call it now, on the 6th of July in 2025. He now finally gets an opportunity to present his side of the story specifically to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Welcome back to the Madlanga Justice College. A bit cloudy on this Wednesday morning in the country's capital. Perhaps if you want to draw on the metaphors, the dark cloud hanging over the man who is expected in the hot seat, we're told, for the remainder of the week here at this particular inquiry. And it's understandable, given just how voluminous we can presume his testimony is going to be in the wake of those really, I suppose, long list of allegations that have been made against him, not only by the man whose briefing really laid the foundation for the series of events that have unfolded as we've seen them in Matlala, of course, but there have been several others since then who've come forward to essentially, at least in phase one of this commission's work, corroborate what Matlala said during that briefing and when he took to the witness stand here at the Madlanga Justice College. The claims in the main are that Shadrack Sibiya, the now suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner, has a close relationship with alleged criminal mastermind in Vusimuzi Matlala, and in some stage a witness C, a senior police officer in the political killings task team, telling this inquiry that they have intimate knowledge of Vusimuzi Matlala apparently sending money to the tune of millions of rand in kickbacks to Sibiya in order to secure that controversial SABC health contract that Vusimuzi Matlala's company, of course, was behind. And so, as you've mentioned, Sibiya has so far denied any wrongdoing, but if the past 61 days of this inquiry are anything to go by, we know he's going to have to work hard to prove it. So as we get Canny ready, perhaps let's get you some context about how we got here and take you back to that bombshell briefing on the 6th of July when Matlala mentioned Shadrack Sibiya as being at the center of these efforts to destabilize the PKTT. Take a listen.
On the 26th of March 2025, this year, a total of 121 case dockets that were under investigation were taken away from the task team as directed by a Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection, a Lieutenant General Sibiya, who was acting on the instruction of the Minister of Police to disband the team. This was done without the authority of the National Commissioner, nor I, as a Provincial Commissioner, was never informed. These case dockets have since March been sitting at the head office ever since, without any investigation work done on them.
And of course, so much more has been said about those 121 dockets. As you know, we now understand that they're back at KwaZulu-Natal. But in fact, Shadrack Sibiya, the man at the center of these claims, has now arrived in the building. Canny Maphanga is inside the Madlanga Justice College, where Canny, I imagine, is just a stone throw away from where you are standing. I suppose the moment of reckoning is edging ever so closer.
Indeed. Good morning to you, Ayanda, and to the viewers at home. We're just minutes away from that highly anticipated testimony of the now suspended Deputy National Commissioner, that is Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya. He has a number of allegations that he has to answer to before the probe. He's been implicated by different testimony, whether it is from high-ranking SABC officials to PKTC members to partially in-camera witnesses, or through the WhatsApp exchanges of Witness F. There are several questions that remain in the air for Sibiya to answer before this particular probe. Now, we know he has appeared before the ad hoc and given some shred of evidence regarding these particular allegations, but this is his first time appearing before the Madlanga Commission as an implicated person as part of phase 2 of the hearings. What we saw happen this week is that Witness F, who was key to that testimony, fell ill and was hospitalized. And of course, they couldn't continue with those WhatsApp exchanges, which was really giving us a greater picture, Ayanda, of what we were dealing with, or the alleged extent of the network with respect to Sibiya himself. Sibiya is a high-ranking SABC official responsible for crime detection within the South African Police Services, and he's accused of having these alleged close relations with these alleged shadowy figures within this alleged Big Five cartel. And I think with the text messages, or rather the exchanges of Witness F, we were starting to see names that went beyond Vusimuzi Matlala, and of course the name of Katiso Molefe. We're starting to hear different names like Stephen Mutsumi and the late Msibi, as well as persons being linked to Shadrack Sibiya. And of course, where Witness F comes in is that we saw this common trend or pattern of a common denominator, that is Witness F allegedly acting on the behalf of Shadrack Sibiya in his alleged dealings with these individuals who are said to be part of this alleged criminal cartel. So there's a lot to answer to, Ayanda, that Sibiya will be giving us over the next 4 days, and we'll hear his version regarding all of this fallout from this disbandment of the PKTT directive and the subsequent conduct and actions that he took in the face of it. I do see his attorney, Mr. Ian Levitt, walking in with his legal team. Quite a large contingent there, as Shadrack Sibiya is set to take the stand for the next 4 days. If you look at some of the themes that are possibly going to be traversed through this testimony, we can start right in the beginning, Ayanda, which is that disbandment directive of the PKTT. We saw that as soon as the police minister issued out that notice that went out on social media prior to the key stakeholders getting that information first, what then takes place is Deputy National Commissioner Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya takes it upon himself to implement that particular directive. He implements it by ensuring that the 121 dockets are moved from the KZN headquarters to the Pretoria headquarters. Now, questions are in the air as to why that particular decision was taken by Sibiya. The context being, Ayanda, that at the time the PKTT, along with counterintelligence, or rather let me say counterintelligence, with the support of PKTT, were closing in on these alleged cartel members, where it seems that Sibiya allegedly enjoyed a close relationship, or rather a beneficial relationship with those cartels, which would explain, if that is the case, why he took an interest in the investigations into the PKTT, or rather why he would want to take an interest in those 121 dockets. We are hearing the evidence of phase 1 of the testimony that indeed the dockets went over to the Pretoria headquarters. However, they were not worked on during that period, Ayanda, meaning that either allegedly Sibiya would have wanted to see, or rather get an insight as to what those dockets were revealing, or it was allegedly a deliberate attempt to stall those investigations, because in the time that they had moved to the Pretoria offices, those dockets were not worked on. It means that the investigations into key alleged cartel members had not continued during that particular period. We're also looking at allegations emanating from, I think it was Witness C's testimony, about the alleged monetary benefits that Sibiya is alleged to have gotten from these alleged cartel members. We're also looking at evidence directly relating to alleged cartel member Vusimuzi Matlala, and what exactly that relationship between the pair was. Why was Vusimuzi Matlala allegedly purchasing Impala for Shadrack Sibiya's plot? What was the alleged benefit in that regard? What was the alleged close association with a high-ranking SABC official for crime detection and an alleged cartel member? Why did Vusimuzi Matlala also choose choose to continue his communications, or rather, why did Sibiya choose to continue his communications through a third party, being that of witness F? And not only with Vusimuzi, Matlala, Ayanda, but with other alleged shadowy figures. It seems that an officer in his office would carry out those different communications and transactions. So there is a lot to answer to, or rather immutable evidence, as I like to put it, before the commission that Sibiya will have to confront, and he can't actually dispute, because the evidence is there in cold hard proof in the WhatsApp exchanges, in the different meetings that took place, and of course in the recordings of Vusimuzi Matlala, where he establishes, at least at the bare minimum, some form of alleged connection with the individual that is Shadrack Sibiya. As I stated, we're about 2 minutes away now from the start of the hearings. It's going to be a tough one for Shadrack Sibiya as he continues to be probed on the alleged extent to which these alleged criminal cartels would have infiltrated the criminal justice system, and how he, as a high-ranking SABC official, would have allegedly played a role in such an infiltration. You see there his lawyer Ian Levitt right by his shoulder, preparing him for that very important testimony. All those bundles on that desk, it tells you the kind of volume of evidence you'll be looking at, Ayanda, as Sibiya continues with that testimony for the next 4 days.